when I get an inbox full of 100 emails saying our token is launching on Thursday, I probably don't even open it, because that's not what we're in it for. We're in it for the technology. We want to know what your product, how innovative is your product, what use case does it actually have, what problem for the world is it going to solve, how is it contributing to the ecosystem in general, not just how much money are you planning to raise and how fast did you sell your token. We don't really care. That's not a story, but if you tell us that you're doing something that is solving a really major problem and doing it in a way that nobody else is doing, because often I get pitches that are, we are going to revolutionize industry X, and I'm like, oh, you mean like this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy told me they were going to do last week? Do your research, make sure that you're actually innovative and you're actually original, and pitch it to me that way. And if that's the case, and you've got a good community, and you've got good technology and a working beta, and you've got something you can show me and not just empty promises, I might look at it. Here's the other thing to consider. In the early days, when Bitcoin magazine first started back in 2012, it was a new industry with very few things happening, little incremental changes, and every little incremental change, that was news. But now there's so much happening, it would be like asking the New York Times to cover your bakery opening. The New York Times isn't going to cover every store opening in New York. It's not going to happen. But if there's a really cool story behind the store, and it's doing something really interesting and new, they might look at it. So right now it's incredibly competitive, and we're looking at things that actually matter. One of the things that Bitcoin Media is doing is we're reaching out to a few different mainstream media partnerships. We have some of our stories picked up by NASDAQ. So when you're reading NASDAQ content, some of it is actually from Bitcoin Magazine or from our sister company, distributed.com. So that's helpful if they're getting it from the Bitcoin sources. I think that really just doing the outreach and trying to, get our side of the story out there is really important, but also making sure that we don't succumb to the temptation of following the hypey story every time it comes up, and really sticking with the fundamentals and doing what we're good at. Bitcoin Magazine is a news source for the Bitcoin and blockchain community already. So we've been doing what we've been doing, reporting on Bitcoin and blockchain and various cryptocurrencies, not so much, mostly Bitcoin, since 2012. It's the mainstream media that have since picked up the stories, and they're the ones who've been hyping it, and that's a problem, because I think that what we've been noticing is some of the experts that they've been getting on their programs aren't necessarily the experts that those of us from the Bitcoin and blockchain community would have selected. Had we been able to propose the experts who should be talking to the media, we might have made a few different choices and had a few more level heads. Definitely the right experts, having the right sources and getting the right perspective, getting people who've been in the space for a long time and know what they're talking about. Also, the mainstream media likes to focus on price an awful lot without focusing so much on the utility and focusing on what people are innovating and doing with blockchain technology. And that's something that the Bitcoin and blockchain media does focus on. So I think that the media, it's hard to sort of paint us all with the same brush that way. I mean, I can tell you for sure, the articles that we do produce that are related to price, people read them. I mean, those are our top performing stories, but that doesn't mean we're going to publish one a day. Normally when I come to a conference, it's to network, meet people, get stories, contact people that I may want to reach out to in the future for other stories. This time I was invited to speak on a media panel. And I've never been invited to speak on a media panel. I've been invited to speak before, but I don't generally agree to do that because I'm an editor. I edit the news. I don't talk about the news. That's not my job. But if you want to ask me about media and Bitcoin and blockchain, that's a topic that I'm familiar with, and it gives me an opportunity to talk to these ICO companies and various new blockchain companies and say exactly this. This is how you get your message across, and these are the messages that we're looking for.